In this video, we'll be demonstrating how to use the Lesson 12.2 spreadsheet. Now, by this time, you probably already watched the other instructional videos that gave more insight to what a bank discount is. So we're not going to spend a lot of time explaining what a bank discount is since you already watched the other videos. Alright, so let's go to example 1 here. In example 1, we have an example where we have $12,000 is being borrowed. We've been given a discount rate of 9%, and we've been given 10 months over the time. Now, to calculate the bank discount, we just multiply face value times discount rate times the time, and this is our bank discount. Now, to find the proceeds, we already know what the maturity value is, which is the face value here. We know the bank discount because that's what we just calculated. And now we can find the proceeds. So we're going to go equals maturity value minus bank discount, enter. So what this means is that the person taking out the loan would not receive a check of $12,000, which we're used to looking for simple interest would be called principal. We're actually looking for them to get proceeds, and proceeds are maturity value minus the bank discount. So at the end of maturity, this would be how much the loan would be worth, would be $12,000. But the check that is written out to the person getting lent the money would be $11,100. Alright, so that's a two-step process in finding the proceeds. If we look at example 2, we can actually do this in one step altogether. So for this one, we have $25,000 being borrowed. We've been given a discount rate of 10.5%, and we've been given a time of 90 days. So we're going to go 90 divided by 360 to calculate the time. Now, to find this, we're going to go equals face value or maturity value times, parentheses, 1 minus D, discount rate, times time, enter. So what this means is that the amount being written out to the person borrowing the loan would be $24,343.75. And at the end of maturity, the face value would be $25,000. All right, now let's look at example 3. If you haven't got the difference between simple interest and simple discount, this should really help. So let's say for this first example, for simple interest, let's say we have $7,500 and we have a rate of 12% and time, we've been given 90 days. So we'll put that out at 360. So to find this formula, as we've done already before, we're going to go principal times rate times time, enter. So the interest earned on this would be $225. Let's look at the bank discount. So we're going to go $7,500 is our maturity value. The discount rate is 12%, and the time is 90 over 360. So calculate this. We would get M times D times T. All right, I need to change that cell to a percent. There we go. So it's going to calculate the same there. All right, this is where it begins to be different. So simple interest, note, the principal, the amount being borrowed, is the same thing as face value. So for this example here, it'd be $7,500. Nothing changes. That's the amount being borrowed. Now for simple discount, it's different because what you do is you take the maturity value, which is $7,500, minus the bank discount, which is going to be the $225, and we would get $7,275. Now what that means is that for a simple discount, means that the person getting the loan is getting proceeds. So we subtract the amount of interest that's going to be gained over the entire amount of the loan, and this is why the amount would be less than the maturity value. So simple interest, they get the entire amount up front, and then interest builds on that number. For a simple discount, the interest is deducted from the maturity value first, and then the proceeds are given to the person getting that. Well, what about simple interest? What is maturity value for simple interest? Well, we're taking the principal of $7,500, and then we're adding the interest. And then as we've done before in Chapter 11, we're going to add the principal plus interest. So we get $7,725. All right, well, what is the maturity value? Or the face value, which is the same thing when we're talking about a simple discount for this example? Well, that would be $7,500. Again, interest is added on top of the principal in simple interest notes. In simple discount notes, the interest is deducted from the maturity value or face value, and then the person getting the loan is given proceeds. So that is the maturity value minus the bank discount. So hopefully that clarifies that a little better between the two. All right, now let's look at a couple more examples here where we have to identify certain parts. Example 4, we're finding the rate of interest for discount notes. So for this example, we're going to use numbers that we've already looked at in this example, in example 3. Now we're going to look at something called effective interest versus nominal interest. So when someone goes in for a loan, they sign the paperwork and they agree upon an interest rate. But over time, when things fluctuate, the interest rate actually changes a bit and actually be turned into something called the effective interest rate, which is always higher than a nominal interest rate. So let's use this example here to calculate this. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the interest that we calculated from this examples up here. We're going to take, for this one, we're using proceeds. So the proceeds for this one would end up being $7,275. We're looking to find the rate, and then the time is what we have up here. So we're using 90 out of 360. All right, now that we have everything that we need, we're ready to calculate. So we're going to go equals. We're going to go interest divided by parentheses, proceeds times time, enter. So the effective interest rate for this example for proceeds is 12.37%. Now up here, this was the nominal interest rate, which is 12%. That is what is agreed upon when using simple interest, and when using proceeds, then we use the effective interest rate. We'll do a couple examples later where you can get a better understanding of this. Example 5. In example 5, we're talking about something called the Treasury bill. Now the government offers these out for citizens, for other countries, for people to buy up, and it's a way for the government to raise money quickly. A Treasury bill is a bond, and basically it's an IOU that the government says they'll pay back. So let's look at this example here. The example is talking about a Brazilian bank that is worried about the Brazilian currency, so they want to invest in a foreign investment, so they decide to buy some Treasury bills. So they decide that they want to buy 1 million Treasury bills, and the discount rate they were given was 4%, and then the time they were given was 26 weeks. Now, since we're using weeks in this cell, we're going to go equals 26 divided by 52. 52 is the amount of weeks in a year. All right, now we're ready to calculate what is the bank discount that's going to come out of the face value or maturity value, and then we'll know how much that Brazilian bank would have to pay. All right, so $20,000 is the bank discount. So we're going to take our maturity value, our face value, We're going to take our bank discount, which we just calculated, and now we're going to find the proceeds. So maturity value minus bank discount, $980,000. So the Brazilian bank is going to pay, they're going to send a check to the U.S. government for $980,000. Now, what is the effective interest rate on this then? We know that the nominal rate is 4%. That's the upfront amount. But what is the actual effective interest rate? So what we're going to do, so we know which cell we're looking for, let's calculate this as we just did earlier. Actually, we're looking for rate. So the interest that was earned on these treasury, that will be earned on these treasury bills, is $20,000. The proceeds that we'll find here is $980,000. And then the time they've given us was 26 out of 52 weeks. All right, now let's calculate the rate. Now that we have everything, we can go interest divided by parentheses proceeds times time, enter. So the effective interest rate on the proceeds is 4.08%. Again, that's different than what the nominal rate, the rate they agreed upon from the beginning. And again, remember that the effective interest rate is always going to be a little bit higher than nominal. So it's a good thing to check to see if you're doing it correctly. Let's go to example 6. In example 6, we're finding the face value that produces the desired proceeds. So the situation is Mike needs $4,000 to repair his roof. And he's taking out a bank discount at 10%. And he has 180 days to repay this in time. So what is going to be the face value or the maturity value at the end of this? Well, all we're doing is taking the proceeds divided by 1 minus d times t. And so the amount that he would agree upon to the bank discount would be $4,210.53. Now he needs the $4,000 to repair his roof, so that's why he's taking out a little bit more. So the check that they would send him would be for the $4,000 to be able to fix the roof for his house. Example 7. Example 7, we're looking to find a discount. So for this example here, it says Sheila needs proceeds of $4,480 on a discount note to help with college expenses. Her 240-day note has a maturity value of $4,800. Find the discount rate. So we know that we have $4,800 for the maturity value. We know that the proceeds that she would borrow would be $4,480. And now we need to figure out the time that was given for us was 240 days out of 360. And now we need to find the discount rate and the bank discount. Now, what we can do is we need to know what B is in our formula. And the way we do that is by taking the face value minus proceeds, and this is the amount of interest that would be earned over the time of the loan. Now that we have everything, we're ready to start calculating the formula. So we're going to go equals bank discount, and then we're going to go maturity times time, enter. So the interest rate for this, if not provided, we can calculate that, would be 10%, and over a 240-day period, it would gain $320 in interest. So Sheila would receive a check for $4,480, and at the end of these 240 days, at 10%, she would pay back the remaining balance, which would be the face value, which would be maturity value of $4,800. This is lesson 12.2, learning how to use the formulas in Spreadsheet for this lesson.